Melissa Casias vanished without a trace from Taos County, New Mexico, on June 26, 2025, leaving behind a trail of puzzling clues that have baffled investigators and her loved ones ever since. What began as an ordinary morning commute to her job at a high-security lab spiraled into a mystery filled with strange decisions, wiped phones, and a final sighting that raises more questions than answers. Today on Dark Case Desk, we're diving deep into the enigmatic disappearance of Melissa Casias, breaking down the oddities of that fateful day and the clues that might hold the key to what happened to her. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on cases like this. And if this story grips you, then give it a like and drop a comment below with your thoughts on what might have occurred. Let's set the scene in the quiet, rugged landscapes of Taos County, New Mexico, where life moves at a slower pace amid the mountains and vast open spaces. Melissa Casias, a 53-year-old woman known for her reliability and close family ties, lived there with her husband Mark and their daughter Sierra. Melissa and Mark both worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory, a place shrouded in secrecy due to its national security work. Their daily routine was predictable. Melissa would drive them both to the lab in their white Volkswagen, drop Mark off at his building, head to her own administrative assistant role in a secure area, and then pick him up at the end of the day. It was a rhythm that had defined their lives for years. It built on trust and consistency. But on June 26, 2025, everything deviated from that norm in ways that still confound those who knew her. Surveillance footage from the lab's guard shack captures Melissa arriving at 6:13 in the morning, right on schedule. She hands over her work badge to the security guard, a mundane act that Mark later confirmed he witnessed. Yet instead of proceeding to her building as usual, something inexplicable happens. Just 7 minutes later, at 6:20, the same white Volkswagen is seen exiting the laboratory property entirely. Melissa wasn't heading to work. She was leaving it behind, setting off a chain of events that would unravel her day and ultimately her whereabouts. This abrupt departure marks the first strange anomaly in a day riddled with them. Why would a dedicated employee like Melissa, who had been with the lab for years, suddenly turn around and leave without clocking in? Police reports we've reviewed paint a picture of a woman who was punctual and committed, not one prone to impulsive actions. As she drives away from the sprawling complex of buildings nestled in the hills, one can only imagine what thoughts were racing through her mind. The road back home winds through picturesque but isolated terrain, dotted with piñon trees and distant peaks. A drive that should have taken her about an hour or so under normal circumstances. Upon returning home unexpectedly, Melissa doesn't settle in for a day off. Instead, she composes an email to her workplace, explaining that something had come up with her daughter and she would be arriving late. While this is the second peculiar twist, there's no evidence whatsoever that any issue arose with Sierra that morning. Sierra, in her early 20s and working her own job, woke up around 7:30, as was her habit, only to find her mother at home. Surprised, she inquired why Melissa was there instead of at the lab. Melissa's response? She claimed she'd forgotten her work badge and had come back to retrieve it, but this explanation crumbles under scrutiny. Mark had seen her present the badge at the guard shack, and there's no record of her mentioning any forgetfulness earlier. It was as if she was fabricating a reason on the spot, perhaps to buy time or deflect questions. Despite the oddity, the morning at home unfolds with a semblance of normalcy. Melissa offers to make breakfast for Sierra, a gesture that speaks to her nurturing side. Sierra, puzzled but not alarmed, reminds her mother that she should probably head back to work soon. Melissa brushes it off, saying she's already late and might as well take the full day off to run some errands. It's a casual dismissal, but in hindsight, it feels loaded with unspoken intent. Sierra heads off to her job, leaving Melissa alone in the house, where the day's mysteries would only deepen. As the morning stretches into midday, Mark at the lab starts to notice gaps in their usual communication. Around 11 o'clock, he needs the shared car for an errand and tries calling Melissa, but she doesn't pick up. This silence is unusual, yet not immediately panic-inducing. Melissa, meanwhile, is confirmed to be active and mobile. Around lunchtime, she stops at a local Subway shop, purchases a sandwich, Ashin delivers it to Sierra at her workplace just before 1 o'clock. Security footage obtained by authorities verifies her presence in the area, showing her going about this errand with apparent ease. Sierra later recounts their brief conversation as unremarkable. Everything seemed fine. No signs of distress or urgency in her mother's demeanor. Back at the lab, Melissa's absence doesn't go unnoticed. Her supervisor reaches out to Mark, inquiring about her whereabouts. This is the moment Mark realizes she never made it to her shift after dropping him off. Concern flickers, but it's tempered by practicality. He's more worried about his ride home than anything sinister at this point. He contacts Sierra, who confirms seeing her mom earlier, and asks her to relay a message about transportation. According to Mark's statement to police, Sierra texts back that Melissa advised him to find a ride with a friend. It's a simple instruction, but one that aligns with Melissa's supposed plan to stay home. By 2:34 in the afternoon, however, communication takes a troubling turn. Texts sent to Melissa's iPhone begin appearing as green bubbles instead of blue, indicating a loss of iMessage functionality, either due to no internet connection or the feature being disabled. This technical detail, seemingly minor, hints at a deliberate disconnection or an unforeseen issue with her device. Sierra, growing uneasy, decides to leave work early and heads home, arriving around 3 o'clock. What she discovers there transforms a strange day into a full-blown enigma. The white Volkswagen sits in the driveway, suggesting Melissa is inside. But upon entering, Sierra finds the house door locked, with all of Melissa's belongings scattered as if she'd stepped out momentarily. Her keys dangle from their usual spot, her purse rests on a surface, and both her work phone and personal cell phones, plus an old one, are left behind. Police reports emphasize that no spare keys appear to be missing, ruling out the possibility of her locking up and leaving with an alternative set. This abandonment of essentials is clue number 1. Why would someone step out without their keys, phone, or purse, especially in a rural area where mobility is key? Delving deeper, Sierra notices something even more alarming about the phones. Both personal cell phones have been factory reset, their data completely erased. This isn't a casual oversight, it's a calculated action that wipes away messages, contacts, photos, any digital footprint that could reveal her plans or communications. Clue number 2 underscores a potential intent to obscure her trail, raising questions about whether Melissa was preparing to vanish or if someone else intervened. Mark arrives home later, courtesy of a colleague's ride, and surveys the scene with Sierra. The accumulation of oddities prompts him to call the authorities. In the recorded call to New Mexico State Police, his voice carries a mix of confusion and worry. "This is Mark Casias. We cannot locate my wife. We haven't heard from her all day, and this is not like her. She doesn't do this, much less leave without her phones and contacting people. I even had to get a ride with a friend. I'm just out of it right now, trying to figure this out." The dispatcher assures him an officer is en route, marking the official start of the investigation. As police take statements, a fuller picture of the Casias family's life emerges. Financial strains had been mounting. Melissa and Mark maintained separate bank accounts, with Melissa handling many bills, despite earning roughly half of Mark's salary as a superintendent. One of her accounts was overdrawn by about $600, and they owed back taxes to the IRS. These issues had escalated recently, impacting their professional lives. Melissa's former supervisor informed investigators that the tax troubles led to both losing their security clearances at the lab. For Mark, it was a minor hiccup, but for Melissa, whose role required access to secure areas, it meant a transfer to a less sensitive site. Compounding this, she faced performance reviews that weren't glowing, adding stress to an already tense situation. Mark insists to police that their marriage was solid and the financial woes were being addressed. Melissa had recently confided in a friend about repaying the IRS, framing it as manageable. With permission, officers searched the home, noting it's cluttered but lived-in state, no signs of violence or forced entry. Yet in the primary bedroom, 2 details catch their eye. Clue number 3, a pair of boots positioned on the floor near a fish tank. Mark claims he hadn't worn them in ages, even recalling spiderwebs on them, but the investigating officer sees none. Instead, dried mud clings to the sole of the right boot, with wet mud from the toe to the arch, suggesting recent outdoor use. Adjacent to these boots, clue number 4 materializes spots of blood. Authorities caution that swabs are pending lab analysis, and it's unclear if the blood is human or perhaps from an animal. Still, its presence in the bedroom, combined with the boot's condition, fuels speculation about what might have transpired in the home before Melissa's departure. The investigation widens as tips trickle in. A family friend contacts police, reporting a sighting of Melissa on the day she disappeared. During his lunch break, while driving east on State Road 518, he passes a woman in jeans and a sweater walking in the same direction. She seems familiar, but he doesn't dwell on it. He pulls over at a spot near Forest Road to eat and calls his son at 2:19 in the afternoon. Shortly after, the woman walks past him briskly, head down. Now recognizing her as Melissa, though noting she's slimmer than he remembered, consistent with reports of her recent weight loss from thyroid medication, he continues his meal. To confirm, he drives further east after lunch and passes her again, this time certain of her identity. This location is approximately a 47-minute walk from the Casias home, aligning with Melissa's habit of taking long walks for exercise and reflection. The timing fits. After delivering the sandwich to Sierra, she could have returned home, then set out on foot to reach that spot around 2:18, as corroborated by surveillance footage from a nearby residence showing her walking east at that exact time. Clue number 5. This is the last confirmed sighting of Melissa Casias. The friend, regretting not stopping initially, turns around to offer assistance, but upon returning to where she should be, Melissa is nowhere in sight. In her presumed place, he spots a newer model, dark blue Dodge Ram long bed pickup truck, perhaps a 2020 edition, with tinted windows, accelerating east on State Road 518 as if it had just pulled away. Clue number 6. Was this truck involved? Did Melissa arrange a pickup, or was it a coincidence masking something more ominous? Further along the same road, near the Amole Road intersection, a 15-minute drive from the sighting, a couple searching for Melissa stumbles upon a pile of clothes, jeans and a sweater cinched with a hair tie, a method Melissa reportedly used after her weight loss to adjust fit. Though police state the items don't match descriptions of her last outfit and haven't been tested, they're held in evidence. And clue number 7, could these belong to her, discarded or left behind? Since that 2:18 sighting, Melissa has vanished. Her family clings to hope, sharing heartfelt pleas. I go to bed thinking about her, wake up in the middle of the night, same thing. Where is she? If someone knows something, please be brave and come forward. Think about what we're going through. We just need to find her. Her sibling adds, she's my little sister. I need to know where she's at. I can't stop looking. Please, if anybody knows anything, come forward. Police urge residents in Taos County, particularly Talpa or Ranchos de Taos, or those on State Road 518 on June 26, 2025, to review surveillance or dash cam footage. These tips can be submitted to New Mexico State Police at 505-42-56771. A $7,500 reward awaits through Crime Stoppers and the family. No one thought this case could be solved until new evidence shocked investigators. But as we delve deeper into the disappearance of Melissa Casias from Taos County, New Mexico, on June 26, 2025, the layers of mystery only thicken, revealing a web of unanswered questions that continue to haunt her family and the community. Welcome back to Dark Case Desk, where we uncover the shadows of true crime. If you haven't already liked this video, drop your theories in the comments and subscribe for more in-depth explorations of cases that refuse to fade into oblivion. As we pick up from where we left off, let's rewind just a bit to the heart of that morning routine at Los Alamos National Laboratory, a sprawling facility perched on the mesas of northern New Mexico, known for its cutting-edge research and stringent security protocols. Melissa Casias, at 53 years old, had built a life around stability. Her role as an administrative assistant in a secure building demanded precision and reliability. Her husband, Mark Casias, held a position as a superintendent, and together they navigated the demands of their jobs with a shared commute that symbolized their partnership. The white Volkswagen they drove was more than transportation. It was a vessel for their daily lives, carrying them through the winding roads from their home in Taos County to the lab's guarded entrances. On that fateful day, the surveillance cameras captured a moment that seemed routine at first glance. Melissa arriving at the guard shack at 6:13 in the morning, presenting her badge as Mark recalled. The guard's interaction was brief, a nod of approval, and then the car moved forward. But what followed deviated sharply from the expected path. Instead of dropping Mark at his building and proceeding to hers, Melissa executed a turnaround that would alter everything. By 6:20, the vehicle was exiting the property, heading back toward the open expanses of Taos County. This decision, captured in grainy footage, marks the inception of a timeline fraught with inconsistencies. The drive home would have taken her through landscapes that define northern New Mexico. Vast plateaus dotted with sagebrush, or distant views of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains rising like silent sentinels, and roads that twist through small communities where everyone knows everyone else's business. Melissa's email to her supervisor, citing an issue with her daughter Sierra, adds another layer of intrigue. Sierra, working at a coffee shop in the bustling Taos Plaza, had no such emergency that morning. She awoke to find her mother at home, offering explanations that didn't quite align. The claim of a forgotten badge clashed with Mark's observation at the guard shack, creating a discrepancy that investigators would later scrutinize. In the quiet of their home, a modest residence in a neighborhood where neighbors wave from porches and dogs bark at passing cars, Melissa's actions took on a domestic normalcy that belied the undercurrents. Preparing breakfast for Sierra, she spoke of errands and lateness with a casual air, as if the day was merely an extension of the weekend. Sierra, sensing nothing amiss beyond the surprise, departed for her shift, leaving Melissa alone in a space filled with the remnants of family life, photos on walls, a fish tank bubbling softly in the bedroom, and the everyday clutter that speaks to lives intertwined. As the sun climbed higher, casting long shadows across the arid terrain, Melissa's movements traced a path through familiar locales. Her stop at Subway, a quick errand in a chain restaurant known for its assembly line sandwiches, resulted in a delivery to Sierra just before 1 o'clock. The footage from the area, including views from John Dunn shops in the historic Taos Plaza, a vibrant hub of art galleries, cafes, and tourists wandering adobe-lined streets, shows Melissa in jeans, a turquoise or white shirt, white and pink tennis shoes, and possibly a maroon jacket or hoodie tied around her waist. She carried herself with purpose, no visible signs of distress, engaging in what appeared to be a loving gesture toward her daughter. Sierra's workplace, a cozy coffee shop where the aroma of fresh brews mingles with the chatter of locals and visitors, became the site of their last known interaction. They talked briefly, everything seeming fine, before Melissa departed. This moment, frozen in time by security cameras, represents the last confirmed contact with her family. From there, the narrative shifts to the open road. State Road 518, a two-lane highway snaking through the rural outskirts of Talpa and Ranchos de Taos. One area is characterized by scattered homes, vast fields, and the occasional pull-off for picnics or reflection. The family friend's sighting at 2:19 in the afternoon places Melissa walking briskly eastbound, head down, her slimmer frame a result of recent thyroid medication that had helped her shed weight. This location, a 47-minute walk from home, according to mapping tools, aligned with her known habit of long walks, solitary treks that allowed her to clear her mind amid the whispering winds and rustling leaves of the high desert. The friend eating lunch in his vehicle near Forest Road recognized her on the second pass, noting her determined stride. His decision to turn around and offer help came too late. By the time he circled back, Melissa had vanished from the stretch of road. In her stead, the dark blue Dodge Ram pickup truck, a newer model with tinted windows and a long bed, accelerated away eastward, as if departing from a brief stop. This vehicle, described in good condition, possibly a 2020 edition, has become a focal point for investigators. Was it a coincidence, or did it play a role in her disappearance? The road itself, lined with ditches, fences, and occasional turnouts, offers few hiding spots. Yet Melissa was gone in moments. Further down the highway, near the Amole Road intersection, the discovery of clothing added another enigmatic element. A couple involved in searches stumbled upon jeans and a sweater, cinched with a hair tie, a practice Melissa adopted after her weight loss to adjust her clothing. Though police noted the items didn't match exact descriptions of her outfit and opted not to test them immediately, they retained them in evidence, a precautionary measure in a case where every detail counts. Back at the Casias home, Sierra's arrival around 3 o'clock unveiled the abandonment. The Volkswagen in the driveway, the door locked, and inside a tableau of left-behind essentials. Keys, purse, work phone, personal phones, including an old one, all present. But the cell phones wiped clean via factory reset. This digital erasure suggests premeditation, erasing any trail of calls, texts, or apps that might reveal her intentions or contacts that day. Mark's call to police, his voice laced with bewilderment, initiated the official response. Officers arrived to a home that, while cluttered, showed no overt signs of struggle, no overturned furniture, no broken glass, just the quiet disarray of daily living. In the primary bedroom, the boots near the fish tank stood out, mud caked on the sole, some dried, some wet, contradicting Mark's claim of long disuse and absent spiderwebs. Nearby, the blood spots prompted swabs for analysis, with results pending to determine if human or otherwise. Financial disclosures during statements painted a picture of strain. Separate accounts, Melissa handling bills on a salary half of Mark's, an overdrawn checking by $600, back taxes leading to lost security clearances. These pressures had forced Melissa's reassignment at the lab, compounding performance issues. Yet Mark maintained their marriage was strong, the issues resolvable, one with Melissa recently mentioning IRS repayments to a friend. Family dynamics emerged in interviews. Melissa's sister, Trudy Najera, emphasized her devotion. This is not like her. She wouldn't leave her daughter. She loves, adores her daughter. She would not leave her. Plans to care for their mother post-surgery reinforced this, dismissing voluntary departure. Niece Yasmin Macmillan echoed the uncertainty. Because we don't have answers, we can't draw any conclusions one way or the other. No matter what, we need to find answers. We don't want to stop looking. New Mexico State Police, leading the investigation, conducted 3 searches with state, local, and federal aid, scouring the rugged terrain of Taos County, canyons, rivers, and forests that could conceal secrets indefinitely. They haven't ruled out foul play, and though initial facts suggest possible self-departure. No one cleared, reports to FBI's Albuquerque office, and a call for public assistance. Review dash cams, surveillance from State Road 518 on June 26th. Rewards total $7,500, $2,500 from Crime Stoppers, $5,000 from family, for leads to her return. Melissa's description: 5 feet 4 inches, 115 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, tattoos including a dragon on her right ankle, dream catcher on left shoulder, bow and arrow on left arm. Months later, as 2025 gave way to 2026, the case lingers unsolved. In September 2025, state police reported no breakthroughs. The trail cold despite tips. Family pleas continue. And a GoFundMe for searches reflects community support. A January 2026 Facebook post marks 214 days missing, begging for information. No one thought this case could be solved, until new evidence shocked investigators. Yet as the months dragged on into the new year of 2026, the disappearance of Melissa Casias from the serene yet unforgiving terrain of Taos County, New Mexico, remains a haunting enigma that grips the hearts of those who knew her and captivates true crime enthusiasts across the nation. Here on Dark Case Desk, we continue our immersive journey into this perplexing case, peeling back the layers of a day that started with routine and ended in silence. Remember to like this video if it sends chills down your spine. Share your own speculations in the comments. Hang in and subscribe to stay locked into the darkest corners of unsolved mysteries. Venturing further into the fabric of Melissa's life before that pivotal June 26, 2025, reveals a woman deeply rooted in her community and family obligations. Born and raised in the cultural tapestry of Taos, where Native American heritage blends with Hispanic traditions and artistic influences, Melissa embodied the resilience of the region. Her home in Ranchos de Taos, a small unincorporated area south of Taos proper, sat amid adobe-style houses and expansive views of the Rio Grande Gorge, a place where the earth meets the sky in dramatic fashion. Neighbors described her as friendly, often waving during her walks or chatting about local events like the Taos Pueblo Powwow or the annual arts festivals that draw crowds to the area. Her professional path at Los Alamos National Laboratory, located about an hour's drive northwest through winding highways, flanked by ponderosa pines and volcanic plateaus, was one of dedication despite the challenges. As an administrative assistant, Melissa handled sensitive documentation in buildings fortified with multiple security layers, her role requiring not just organizational skills, but also the utmost discretion. The loss of her security clearance due to those unresolved tax issues hit hard, relocating her to a less prestigious area of the lab where the atmosphere was more mundane, filled with cubicles and fluorescent lights rather than the high-stakes environment she once navigated. Colleagues noted her quiet demeanor, always polite but increasingly withdrawn in the weeks leading up to her vanishing, perhaps burdened by the mounting pressures. Mark, her husband of many years, portrayed their relationship as steadfast, built on shared experiences like raising Sierra and weathering life's storms together. Their separate finances, while practical, highlighted differing approaches to money. Mark's higher salary affording him more leeway, while Melissa juggled bills with precision, her overdrawn account a symptom of broader economic strains common in rural New Mexico, where costs for essentials like utilities and groceries constrained modest incomes. The back taxes, amounting to a significant sum, had triggered IRS notices that arrived like unwelcome guests, prompting discussions that, according to friends, Melissa downplayed as temporary hurdles. Sierra, the light of Melissa's life, worked at a charming coffee shop in Taos Plaza, a historic square encircled by galleries showcasing local pottery and weavings, where tourists sipped lattes while admiring the San Francisco de Assisi Mission Church nearby. Her bond with her mother was unbreakable. Melissa's gesture of delivering that Subway sandwich, a foot-long turkey on wheat perhaps with fresh veggies, spoke volumes about her maternal instincts, even on a day veering off course. Sierra's later recollection of their chat, filled with everyday banter about work and plans, now echoes with poignancy, the last words exchanged before the void. The afternoon sighting on State Road 518 unfolds like a scene from a suspense thriller, the highway a ribbon of asphalt cutting through high desert scrubland, where juniper bushes dot the landscape and the air carries the scent of sage after rain. The family friend, a long-time resident accustomed to the road's curves and occasional wildlife crossings, described Melissa's gait as purposeful, her head bowed against the wind, or perhaps lost in thought. The pull-off near Forest Road, a gravel turnout used by locals for breaks or fishing access to nearby streams, provided him a vantage point to observe without intrusion. His call to his son, a routine check-in lasting mere minutes, bridged the gap between uncertainty and recognition. The dark blue Dodge Ram, its tinted windows reflecting the afternoon sun, remains a spectral figure in the narrative, its acceleration suggesting a hasty departure from the roadside. Investigators pored over vehicle registrations in the area, cross-referencing models from 2020 onward. But the commonness of such trucks in truck-loving New Mexico yielded a sea of possibilities. Was it a prearranged meeting, Melissa stepping into the cab willingly, or something more coercive, the truck's presence a harbinger of danger? The clothing find near Amoli Road, a junction where the road intersects with dirt paths leading to remote ranches, added to the puzzle. The jeans, faded denim perhaps worn from years of use, and the sweater, soft fabric bunched with that signature hair tie, evoked Melissa's recent transformation. Her thyroid medication not only aiding health, but also boosting her confidence as clothes hung looser. Police photographers documented the pile, noting its placement off the shoulder, partially obscured by roadside weeds, as if discarded in haste. Though not matching the exact attire from the sighting, jeans, yes, but the top described as turquoise or white. The proximity and style kept it in play as potential evidence. Inside the Casias residence, the scene Sierra encountered painted a portrait of abrupt exit. The living room, with its cozy couch facing a television tuned to local news channels, held Melissa's purse on the coffee table, contents untouched. Wallet with ID, credit cards, a few dollars in cash. The keys, a jangle of house, car, and work fobs, hung on a hook by the door. The phones arranged on the kitchen counter like forgotten relics, their screens blank after the resets, erased any digital breadcrumbs. No last calls logged, no texts hinting at plans. Technicians later attempted data recovery, but the thorough wipe suggested knowledge of device settings, perhaps from online tutorials or prior experience. The bedroom clues lingered in investigators' minds. The boots, rugged leather, meant for hiking the nearby trails like the Rio Grande del Norte National Monument. Their mud a mix of dry clay from older outings and fresh, damp soil, implying recent exposure to the area's sporadic summer showers. The blood spots, small droplets on the carpet near the fish tank, where tropical fish swam obliviously, awaited forensic confirmation. If human, DNA matching could pivot the case. If animal, perhaps from a household pet or unrelated incident, it would fade into irrelevance. Police procedures kicked into high gear post-Mark's call, officers arriving in marked cruisers, their lights flashing against the fading daylight. Initial canvassing of neighbors yielded little. No unusual vehicles, no screams or arguments overheard. Door to door in Talpa, a community of artists and retirees nestled along the road, brought tips of Melissa's walking habits, her routes often looping through quiet lanes where wildflowers bloomed in season. The first search, launched within days, mobilized teams from New Mexico State Police, Taos County Sheriff's Office, and even federal assets from the Bureau of Land Management, given the vast public lands surrounding the area. Searchers fanned out along State Road 518, combing ditches with metal detectors for any metallic items like jewelry or phone parts, while K9 units sniffed for human scent trails that might veer into the brush. Drones buzzed overhead, their cameras scanning for anomalies in the terrain. Disturbed earth, abandoned items, amid the challenging topography of arroyos and mesas that could swallow evidence whole. Subsequent searches, 2 more in the following weeks, expanded to waterways like the Rio Pueblo de Taos, where currents could carry clues downstream, and forested areas near Carson National Forest, thick with aspen groves and potential hiding spots. Volunteers, including family and friends, trudged through heat and dust, calling Melissa's name in hopes of a response that never came. The emotional toll showed in their faces, sweat-streaked and determined, as they paused for water breaks under the relentless sun. Community response swelled, with vigils held at Taos Plaza, candles flickering in the evening breeze as prayers in English and Spanish rose for Melissa's safe return. Local businesses posted flyers, their windows adorned with her photo, a smiling woman with warm brown eyes, her hair pulled back, capturing her essence. Social media amplified the call, posts sharing her description. 5 feet 4 inches tall, 115 pounds with distinctive tattoos, a dragon coiling around her right ankle, a dream catcher on her left shoulder blade, a bow and arrow gracing her left arm, marks that could aid identification. As autumn leaves turned in 2025, the case drew media attention, interviews with family revealing raw grief. Trudy, Melissa's sister, spoke from the heart in a televised segment, her voice steady but eyes glistening. "We need closure, whatever that may be. She's part of us, and this hole is unbearable." Yasmin, the niece, added layers of urgency, detailing how family gatherings felt incomplete, holidays approaching with an empty chair. Investigators pursued leads diligently, subpoenaing phone records predating the reset to map prior communications, though privacy laws limited scope. Bank statements showed no unusual withdrawals that day, her accounts static save for the overdraft. The lab's security footage, reviewed frame by frame, confirmed the early exit but offered no audio insights into her mindset. Entering 2026, the silence persists, no breakthroughs despite the reward's incentive. A January post on a dedicated Facebook page marked the passage of time, pleading for renewed shares. Dark Case Desk urges vigilance. If footage from that day lingers on your devices or a memory stirs, reach out. Melissa's story isn't over. It's a call to action. Like if this resonates, comment theories, subscribe for more. No one thought this case could be solved, until new evidence shocked investigators. But in the case of Melissa Casias, who vanished on June 26, 2025, from the remote expanses of Taos County, New Mexico, the search for that pivotal breakthrough stretches on, testing the resolve of investigators and the endurance of a family clinging to fading hope. This is Dark Case Desk, where we chase the truth through the fog of uncertainty. If this final installment keeps you on the edge, smash that like button, share your deductions in the comments, and subscribe to join our community of truth seekers unraveling the unknown. As winter's chill settled over Taos in early 2026, the disappearance of Melissa Casias entered its 7th month, a milestone marked not by resolution, but by persistent silence. The high desert town, with its snow-dusted adobe structures and galleries glowing under string lights during the holiday season, carried on, but for Melissa's loved ones, time had frozen in the heat of that June afternoon. Trudy Najera, Melissa's sister, found herself revisiting old photos, her fingers tracing the outlines of family gatherings where Melissa's laughter once filled the room, barbecues in the backyard under starry skies, trips to the Taos Ski Valley where powdery slopes offered brief escapes from daily grind. These memories, once sources of joy, now amplified the ache of absence, prompting Trudy to organize monthly vigils at the Taos Plaza, where community members gathered with lanterns, sharing stories of Melissa's kindness, like the time she volunteered at local food drives, distributing essentials to those hit hard by economic dips. Jasmine McMillan, Melissa's niece, channeled her grief into action, maintaining a dedicated social media page that buzzed with updates, pleas, and shared sightings, though most proved false alarms, like a woman matching her description spotted at a flea market in Albuquerque, only to be ruled out by distinct features. Yasmin's posts, often accompanied by Melissa's photo in her favorite turquoise shirt, reached thousands, fostering a digital network of supporters who reposted flyers and debated details late into the night. The page became a repository for tips, some anonymous, like one suggesting Melissa had been seen hitchhiking toward Colorado, prompting a cross-state coordination with authorities there, but yielding no concrete leads. New Mexico State Police, undeterred by the cooling trail, expanded their digital forensics efforts in the new year. Specialists delved into the wiped phones, employing advanced recovery software to scour for residual data fragments, ghosts of deleted files that might whisper secrets. While initial wipes appeared thorough, experts noted that factory resets on iPhones often leave behind metadata in cloud backups, leading to subpoenas for Apple records. These efforts aimed to reconstruct Melissa's online activity in the days prior, searching for unusual searches or communications that could indicate planning or distress. Similarly, the work phone, left untouched, underwent analysis for any logged emails or internal lab communications that might reveal workplace tensions beyond the known performance issues. The financial angle, once a backdrop, took center stage in deeper probes. Total auditors reviewed Melissa's separate accounts, tracing transactions back months. Grocery purchases at the local Smiths, utility payments dipping into overdraft territory, and sporadic transfers to cover the IRS debt. No large withdrawals suggested a planned escape with funds, but small, consistent outflows to online retailers for everyday items like clothing and health supplements hinted at her focus on self-improvement amid stress. Mark's accounts, scrutinized for comparison, showed stability, but joint tax filings revealed the depth of their arrears, prompting questions about unreported discussions or arguments that might have escalated. Community involvement surged in innovative ways. Local artists in Taos, inspired by Melissa's story, created murals on building walls depicting her likeness amid the iconic landscapes. The Rio Grande flowing eternally, symbolizing the unending search. These artworks, unveiled during a December 2025 event, drew media coverage, reigniting public interest. Podcasters and bloggers beyond Dark Case Desk dissected the case, interviewing locals who recalled seeing Melissa on her walks, her pace steady, earbuds in, perhaps listening to audiobooks or music that provided solace. The dark blue Dodge Ram truck, that elusive clue, spurred a dedicated task force to canvass dealerships and repair shops across northern New Mexico. Descriptions of the 2020 model with tinted windows led to reviews of registration databases, filtering for matches in Taos and surrounding counties like Rio Arriba and Colfax. Tips flooded in, one from a mechanic who serviced a similar vehicle owned by a transient worker, but alibis checked out. Surveillance from businesses along State Road 518, including gas stations and convenience stores, was re-examined frame by frame, searching for the truck's license plate or distinctive features like bumper stickers or wheel rims. The clothing pile near Amoli Road underwent re-evaluation as winter weather preserved the site better than summer's erosion. Forensic teams revisited, collecting soil samples from the fabric to compare with mud on the bedroom boots, seeking geochemical matches that could link the two. Though initial visual mismatches persisted, DNA extraction from potential sweater skin cells was prioritized, with labs accelerating processing amid family pressure. If traces match Melissa's profile from provided samples, it could shift the narrative toward foul play or a staged scene. Blood analysis from the bedroom, long awaited, finally yielded results in early January 2026, confirming the spots as human but not matching Melissa's DNA from familial references. This twist introduced new avenues, perhaps from Mark or Sierra, or an unknown visitor, prompting re-interviews. Mark, cooperative throughout, submitted to polygraph sessions, his responses steady on questions of involvement, though stress indicators flared on financial queries, attributed to ongoing worries. Sierra's perspective, often overshadowed, emerged in heartfelt interviews. She described the sandwich delivery as a cherished routine, Melissa's way of saying "I love you" amid busy schedules. In the factory reset phones haunted her, wondering if Melissa had intended to start anew or if an intruder forced the action. Sierra joined search parties, hiking trails off State Road 518, calling out in the crisp air, her voice echoing against canyon walls. Federal involvement deepened with the FBI's Albuquerque office reviewing case files for patterns in regional disappearances. Though no direct link surfaced, behavioral analysts profiled Melissa as unlikely to abandon family voluntarily, given her close ties and upcoming responsibilities like caring for her mother post-surgery. Yet the possibility lingered, fueled by her erratic morning behavior, the lab exit, the fabricated email, suggesting internal turmoil. Rewards bolstered by community fundraisers climbed to $10,000 by mid-January, in incentivizing tips through Crime Stoppers. A hotline buzzed with calls, some speculative, like theories of lab-related intrigue due to Los Alamos' sensitive work, but dismissed for lack of evidence. More credible were reports of similar trucks seen lingering in the area days prior, leading to stakeouts at potential hotspots. As spring approached in 2026, hope flickered with technological advances. Drones equipped with thermal imaging resurveyed vast tracts, detecting anomalies under snowmelt. Ground-penetrating radar scanned roadside areas for disturbances, while divers probed the Rio Pueblo for submerged items. Family resilience shone through. Trudy's pleas evolved into advocacy, pushing for better missing persons protocols in rural areas. Yasmin's social campaigns expanded to TikTok, his short videos recounting the day's timeline, garnering millions of views and fresh tips. As the shadows lengthen over the unsolved mystery of Melissa Casias, one thing remains clear. The truth is out there, waiting to be uncovered. If this deep dive into her baffling disappearance has left you pondering the clues and craving more true crime tales from the edge, do me a favor. Hit that like button if it gripped you. Drop your theories or questions in the comments below. Subscribe to Dark Case Desk for exclusive updates and new episodes that pull back the curtain on the darkest cases, and share this with anyone who needs to hear her story. Together, we keep the search alive. Stay vigilant out there, and until next time, this is Dark Case Desk signing off.